for the soul to leave the body. I see so many people suffering before death. I've been told it's due to karma, but so many people couldn't have done bad. It's not the soul that it's difficult for, it's the mind. The difficulty is in ours letting go. Can you hear me in the back? Not so much. You did a tik kay din nabiya. Wahi raho, jab tak ठीक ना हो ना. Thanks. So maybe come up a little bit. Maybe if you all move forward a little bit. Yeah, alternatively, you want to just hand me one of those mics? So it's not difficult for the soul to leave the body. It's difficult for the mind to let go. The soul comes into the body in order to fulfill a karmic package that it has to do. A bank account, a karmic bank account that it has to clear. That which we do, all the actions that we do, the word karma means action. And so all of the actions that we do end up as plus points or minus points in our karmic bank account. But it's not like a normal bank account where if I put in $10 and take out 5, I've got 5 left. They don't cancel each other out. And so we end up taking new bodies. So the soul has that opportunity to finish its bank account. If there's what we refer to as good karma, which is really the sweet fruits of actions that we've done, we have to come back to eat that sweet fruit. If we have what we refer to as bad karma, which is the bitter fruits of actions we've done, we have to come back to enjoy that fruit. But the sweet fruit and the bitter fruit don't cancel each other off. Either way, whatever is there, we have to keep coming back until that is emptied. And so the soul is taking bodies and taking life situations that are actually the most conducive for it to take the next step closer to its own awakening, to its own unfolding, to its own awakening. The problem is the mind. When the work in this body is done, or this body itself has become no longer able to sustain the clearing of my karmic account, we'll take a new one. It's like if your car kept breaking down, wouldn't start, couldn't get you out of your driveway. you'd get a new one. If you knew I've got to get from here to Delhi, that's my journey, and your car wouldn't move even an inch, you'd get a new one. And it wouldn't be very difficult. You'd happily get a new one because you knew I've got to continue my journey. So the soul leaving the body in death is not difficult for the soul. It's the mind. It's the mind that doesn't let go. When we are so attached to controlling everything in our lives, most of us live our lives with this death grip of control. How people will act, how they will speak, how you're going to dress, how you're going to sit, how you're going to speak to me, how you're going to treat me, how you're going to live your life, what job you're going to get. We're so attached to controlling everything about everybody else. And of course we always say, well, it's only for your benefit. I just want it for your benefit. The truth is we want it because if you don't dance according to my tune, if you don't treat me the way I want to be treated, if you don't do what I want you to do, I feel uncomfortable. Right? If someone speaks to us in a way we don't want to be spoken to, or treats us a way we don't want to be treated, inside us, we can't take it. It's like that something starts going inside us. I have to do something, say something, react, put them in their place, show them. Or the reaction is internally. I have to start to cry, maybe drown my sorrows in some alcohol, some drugs, some chocolate cake, some gambling, some meaningless sex, some shopping, whatever it may be. But we can't take it inside. When we're not able to exert control over the world around us. And death is the greatest humbler. Because there's nothing you can do. I mean, yes, of course, we can eat well and exercise and take our vitamins and get checkups and do all the things that we're supposed to do to keep the body as strong and healthy as we can. But there comes a time, sometimes it's after a very, very long life. Sometimes it's after not such a long life. For a variety of reasons, where the body no longer is able to sustain the soul's journey, where a new body is required. You know, sometimes you have a car that maybe isn't even top of the line. It's not necessarily a super expensive Mercedes. Maybe it's just a middle of the line car, but God, for 20 years, 25 years, that car just works brilliantly. Sometimes you buy a super expensive model, and after a year and a half, every 3 months, something is breaking. So it's not about the quality of the body. It's not about the good karma, the bad karma, the reward or the punishment. It's simply about this body that I've chosen to do the work that I needed to do in this particular life. Gave me the situations I needed to do that work. And maybe there was karmic work I needed to do that was best done in sickness. Maybe there was karmic work I needed to get done that was best done in physical weakness. A lot of us think about success as longevity, perfect health, as though somehow you had been rewarded by the universe. But it isn't like that. There's not an attachment that the universe has of exactly how long this body it's created is going to last. The only attachment the universe has is how well you use it. Do you use it to wake up? Do you use every situation you are given, pleasant, unpleasant, fun, not fun, feeling good, not feeling good, sickness, health, gain, loss, success, failure, joy, frustration? Do you use every situation as an opportunity to wake up? Do you realize that every situation you are in has been given to you? Because that is the most conducive way for you to take your next step, for you to unfold. That's why we get the bodies we get. That's why we find ourselves in life situations we find ourselves in. It's not about being a victim of an unhealthy body or being a victim of a situation. It's about how is this situation exactly what I need. The dilemma is that most of us are really indoctrinated into this sense of control. I should be able to make whatever I want to happen, happen. I should make my body be able to do whatever I want it to. I should be able to overcome everything I want to overcome. I should be able to control everything around me. What I want, when I want it, how I want it, it should happen. And so when death comes, the mind doesn't want to let go. The mind holds on very tenaciously. That's where the suffering is. When the question asks about the suffering, the soul isn't suffering. Because the soul was never born, the soul never dies, the soul doesn't have any more attachment to the body at the time of death than it did to any of the skin cells that it has lost along the way of its life. The cells of the body regenerate constantly. Every 7, 8, 9 years, you've got a brand new body. The skin cells, literally every few days. The organs over a period of years. So the soul has actually experienced already an innumerable number of changes of the body since it first inhabited it. There's no cells of the body on the day that we die that actually existed on the day we were born. So the soul is constantly inhabiting a different form of the body. Doesn't mind, no problem. It's the mind that has the problem. It's the mind that says, oh my God, gray hair and wrinkles. It's the mind that says, oh my God, I'm losing my beauty. It's the mind that says, oh my God, I've put on a few pounds or lost a few pounds, whichever is a tragedy for me. It's the mind that says that. The soul doesn't suffer. And so it's the mind that doesn't want to let go because the mind has unfinished business. We're never satisfied. And this is actually why our spiritual practice is so important, because it's said that the thought in your mind at the time of death is that which determines your next birth. But the dilemma is you cannot think, well, I'm just going to spend my whole life kind of in the eat, drink, and be merry camp, but at that last moment I'm going to think God, 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 God. It doesn't work. It's a test you cannot cram for. That which comes into the mind at the time of death is exactly that which the mind has created over its lifetime. So the way of thinking, the way of living is exactly the way that we die, and the way that we die determines the next birth. So as you live, realize, if I were dying right now, is this the way I'd want to be dying? So if there's frustration, if there's dissatisfaction, if there's negativity, well, you can be pretty sure that's exactly what's going to be on your mind when you die, which is what's going to determine your next birth. And that's why the sages and the saints and the gurus and the scriptures emphasize the control of the mind, of the thoughts so much. We think of our thoughts as just these really harmless things. But both from a scientific side and also from a spiritual side, we actually know that the thoughts are that which create our reality. In our International Yoga Festival last week, Dr. Bruce Lipton was talking about how you now can measure the thoughts of the mind by a brain scanning machine that's not even touching the skull, which to me as a scientist and as a spiritual person is just so exciting, because it's exactly where science and spirituality overlap. Spirituality has said for thousands, it's said forever, but we have records of thousands of years of teachings that say your thoughts create your reality. And now science is handing us machines that say, I don't even have to touch you to be able to measure your thoughts, to give you a brain scan from inches away from your head, which means we are not only creating our internal reality. So we know we are that. If I'm thinking thoughts of jealousy, of competition, of frustration, of judgment, well, it doesn't take a genius to realize I'm creating hell inside me. Doesn't take a genius to realize I am creating misery. These are the ingredients of misery. But we now go a step further, which is not only am I creating hellish misery within me, but I am actually creating a negative world around me. Because these thoughts are emanating out into the world. And circling back to the question about death, I am literally creating these sanskaras, the grooves, that will be the final thoughts that I have. Which means that I will suffer. I will suffer in death, as of course I have suffered in life. And I will then carry that into my next birth. So what's the solution? What's the answer? Right here, right now, realize you're dying. Every one of us is dying. Whether you've got 80 or 100 years left, whether you've got 8 or 10 hours left, or anywhere in between, we're all dying. And so realize the thought I am having right now is not only creating my current heaven or hell inside, my current misery or joy inside, my current freedom or bondage inside, but it actually is creating how I will leave this earth, and therefore how I will come back next time. So this is what we call a very big ripple impact, a very long-term repercussion. So watch those thoughts. And it's hard because the majority of what we think is subconscious autopilot. The majority of what we think is exactly the way we've always thought. Oh my God, those people are so stupid. Ugh, this situation is so bad. Those people are the problem. This is the problem. Or for some of us, it's, ugh, I'm so stupid. I'm the problem. Either way, that negativity, that judgment, creates literally the environment I live in, internally and externally. And what it does is it actually reinforces untruth, falsehood. Because what it does at every moment is reinforces separation between me and God. If I think I'm the problem, well, then I'm separate from God. Because God is never the problem. It separates me from the pure, whole divinity that I am. If I think people outside are the problem, or the situation outside is the problem, it separates me also from God. Because all of those people outside, all of the situation, they're all God. They're all divine. They're all the sacred creation. And so in either case, it is separating me from truth, separating me from the divine, separating me from oneness. And this is where it's so important to be conscious every minute and every moment, and not to slip back into subconscious patterning. Whatever tool works for you, and that's really what it is. They're tools, they're techniques that keep us conscious. Whether it's watching the breath, being aware of the breath, whether it's chanting something in our mind, keeping our minds focused. Whatever technique, whether it's a simple practice of mindful awareness, being mindful of my heel on the ground, the ball of my foot on the ground, the shifting of the weight. Mindful of the hunger in my stomach. Mindful of my hand extending to reach, to grab the glass of water. Mindful of the water going down. Whatever I am mindful of the thought of anger beginning to rise within me. Mindful of the drama of the ego. That practice of mindfulness. But it's always without any judgment, without any analysis, without getting into the story. So it's just simple awareness. What it does is it keeps us always rooted in consciousness. Always aware. So that we get to choose the thoughts that we have. Spirituality is not about a dulling of the mind. It's not about I never have a thought. When we talk about mindfulness, it's interesting because people typically think the best mind is mindless, right? How do I get beyond the mind? Well, it's not mindlessness. It's mindfulness. So it's not I don't have a thought. It's I'm not a slave of the thoughts. I am creating my thoughts consciously. I am aware, mindful, present. I can choose the thoughts. And so we've developed this practice, and our meditation is the best way develop that skill, but you have to carry it with you off the mat. So in our meditation with our eyes closed, we become deeply aware of the breath, of the mantra, of the inner experience. But then we carry it as we move through the world. That same level of awareness of heel, ball of the foot, shifting weight, swallowing, water going down the throat, coolness. That same level of awareness enables me to see, ego, negativity, ignorance, story. And I just notice it. Notice it the same way I notice my breath in my meditation, or notice a thought that's blown across my consciousness. But I don't get hooked into it. And when we do that, then we are actually able to free ourselves. What most of us do is one of those negative thoughts come, and we hook into it, we jump into it, we jump into the story. We jump into the whole emotional component of the drama. But spirituality says, no, you're not your drama. And all of the attention you give to it just makes it stronger. Just be mindful. Drop into the pure awareness within. And in that pure awareness, know that there's nothing to control. There's nothing to hold on to. Because it's all about that spacious, pure awareness that just is love and is truth and is oneness. And every moment is an opportunity to live as that. And then we don't worry about death because we know, it's just going to be yet another opportunity for spacious awareness. And that which we've created in our life will be exactly where we are at the moment of death. Because we're already connected to the soul. So we're not going to be dying. We won't experience it as death. Because that which we have united with isn't dying. We'll simply let go of the body without suffering, without fear, without control, and go into our next beautiful, exquisite incarnation, whatever it may be. So tonight, instead of opening it up for more questions right now, because it's this beautiful holiday of Holi, we'll cut satsang short here, and we'll all go together up into our back garden, where we'll have a beautiful meditation around the fire. That's why I didn't begin with meditation tonight, because we'll have the meditation up in the garden with the holy fire. And the beautiful opportunity to let go. Let go of whatever it is within us that's holding us back. So we'll go back there, take this beautiful holy holiday to burn whatever it is in us. That drama, that attachment, that story, that anger, that ego, that ignorance. And emerge in the truth of who we are. That light, that love that we know within ourselves.
Fantastic.